Hey everybody, it's Guy here. It's Wednesday, January 14th, 2026, and I thought I would file a short report. First of all, I want to let my friends on Facebook know that I am still under a ban against recording Facebook Lives. It's extremely frustrating because that's my best way to get my messages out to a large audience. Um, what I have to do is record these on my phone or my laptop, upload them to YouTube, and then post it just as a video. And that's fine, but the problem is I don't get nearly the traction. I'll just have a handful of views. Whereas with lives, I can have hundreds and hundreds of views, and they do much better. It's all to do with the ban. I forget the exact date, but sometime this month, maybe toward the end of the month, my live ban is going to come off. And the reason I was banned was very disturbing. Facebook reached back to 2024, I think it was. It might have been last year, but I think it was 24, and they found some innocuous cartoon or meme that I'd posted that was not inappropriate, and they used that as the excuse to ban me from recording Facebook Lives. I was very frustrated. They were just looking for any excuse. So I have to start being careful what I post on Facebook, and I do have a plan for that. Anyway, I'll get to the point of what I wanted to say today. I just wanted to comment on what's happening in the United States. It's also happening in Canada in a less dramatic way. What I'm going to say is going to be controversial for some people, but for me it's not. In my opinion, the United States is becoming a police state. In fact, I think we're already there. And I don't want to get into the weeds about the Rene Good killing by ICE in Minneapolis. I've said a lot about that. I've posted a lot about it. I think I can speak for a lot of my friends when I say I'm just shocked at the excuses people are making for that killing. And they get into, oh, but if you look at this video, she was trying to run him over and everything. No, 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 no. I'm a veteran journalist with a long career, and I've studied things like that many times. It doesn't mean I'm right all the time, but no. Her wheels were turned. She might have grazed the guy. But anyway, I don't want to get into the weeds on that. ICE has recently shot someone in the face who is now blind, a young man. They apprehended a pregnant woman and stomped on her stomach, and she lost her baby in the hospital. It's very clear to me that this is the beginning of an American Stasi. This is, I could call it a secret police. Right now, it's a paramilitary junta kind of force like you had in South American dictatorships, Pinochet in Chile, countries like that. If anybody has bothered to study the history of those countries and how they were turned into dictatorships, usually with the sponsorship of the United States and the CIA, this is the way the States is going. I personally am reaching the point where I will probably never go to the United States again. It's a sad thought. Thankfully, I've seen a lot of the States, and when I was in my 20s, I lived for a year in Santa Monica, and I've traveled all over, and I had a van when I was in my mid-20s, and I drove across America and saw a lot of it, and I've been on business trips there for decades. It's sad, it's sad, but I'll probably never go there again, unless I'm in a plane flight and it gets diverted and has to land because of a storm or something. Canada is not much better, by the way. We're on the same path. But it's so overt in the US right now. I mean, and I got to say something about this MAGA, this Make America Great Again. And by the way, I'm not a liberal, okay? I'm conservative on a lot of issues, and I'm liberal on some other issues. I just don't fit into the right-left paradigm. I take each issue as it comes along. And so many people in the comment section of things I've posted want to say, oh, you're another libtard. Yeah. Like, what has happened to people's brains? They make these kinds of assumptions. But this whole idea of make America great again, just think about that for a minute, how stupid that is. Make America great. Well, first of all, if you're even saying that, that means America is not great. But when was America so great? Think of the word great. I think people who go for slogans like that don't have the mental bandwidth to think of the dozens upon dozens of countries whose governments the CIA and the United States have overthrown. I think MAGA supporters probably are unaware that ISIS and ISIL and many of these supposed Islamic terror groups were started by the United States. And the one, I forget the name of it offhand, that was in Afghanistan, it was the CIA. And I've seen so many posts recently about how Islam is not a religion of peace and how violent they are and everything. No, the most violent group of people in the world are Americans and their armies and their intelligence agencies and their three-letter agencies. And I've written about this, but it's worth repeating here. What's happening, and this is so important to understand, this is the most important thing that I could share. And I'm going to say this and then I'm going to wrap up, because I got things to do today. It's the Hegelian dialectic, over and over and over again. Problem, reaction, solution. Now, people who don't see that in regard to ICE and the immigration issue are people who literally think that the government of the United States is elected and independent. No, both sides are controlled. Both sides answer to the globalists, the controllers, I call them. And we can speculate as to who they are. We can call them the 13 families. I like the term the Committee of 300. And if you think that these people don't exist, I want you to go to my profile page and look at a video that I shared of an interview with Jesse Ventura of a woman by the name of Rima Lublo, I believe is her name. Forgive me if I've got that wrong. And she was saying years ago how there was going to be a pandemic, and the World Economic Forum and the international health bodies had decided that they needed to depopulate the planet, and they were going to use a certain type of injection to accomplish that. How did she know that? And then it happened. So if you don't realize that there are international bodies and they work through secret societies, but not always. I mean, with the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab and the Great Reset, they're overtly telling us where things are going. So anyway, getting back to that Hegelian dialectic thing, Biden, who's controlled just like Trump is, flooded the United States with immigrants. I have nothing against immigrants, but obviously they excessively flooded the country with a lot of people from countries where they were not easy to assimilate. That was the problem. And then what was the reaction? Naturally, Americans, especially working Americans, resented that. And it's true that there's all kinds of people, abusing the system, and they get fed up with it. So that was the reaction. That was all done. Why? So that Trump could come in and provide the solution. What is the solution? Have ICE, this paramilitary group. But what people miss is they don't see where we're going. If you don't see where this is headed, if you don't have the long-term picture of what the goal is, then you're just going to be trapped in reacting to the news and saying, oh, well, my interpretation of this is I don't disagree with you and you're a libtard or what have you. They did this because they want a paramilitary Stasi-type federal police force that can kick in doors for when the New World Order is installed, which is only a couple of years away. They're trying to get this done by 2030. Agenda 2030, you've heard of that, right? That's the time when you'll own nothing and be happy. The currency is collapsing. Right now, I'm doing extremely well with gold and especially silver. Not because they're going up in value. It's because our currencies are collapsing. And we're about to be herded into what I call the compliance economy. And you'll be using credits. You'll be issued credits. And the economy will be tokenized. So you won't own a house. You won't own a car eventually. There'll be a transition period. These will all be gamified and tokenized. Other people, the controllers, will own everything, and you'll rent, you'll lease everything. And hey, if these people were benevolent, a system like that could actually be good. But they're not benevolent. They're going to depopulate, and then they're going to control the survivors. And it's all very clear to me and very visible. So I'm going to wrap up there and leave it at that. Just a heads up, I will post the details later. I have been invited to speak to a public interest group in Aurelia next Tuesday. I think it's the 20th, and I think it's Tuesday. Just look on my profile page for the presentation I'm giving in Aurelia. Anybody who's local, I invite them to come out. I don't know if you have to register for it, but I will put the details on my profile page once I have them. And I'll be talking about these things in more detail. There's a lot of seniors, and they want me to address pension issues, which I will, but I'm going to be situating all that in the context that basically, if you don't accept digital ID and digital currency and all of this gamified tokenized economy, you're not going to be getting your pension. They've got a lot of leverage on that one. I think they're going to sneak it in. So I'll be talking about that. And as somebody who turned 65 last October and is starting to get his pension and his old age security, this is near and dear to me. Anyway, thanks for your kind attention. Please share this video with anyone who you think might be interested. And just as soon as I'm able to go back to recording Facebook Lives, I will do so, even just to announce that I'm able to do that. Have a good day, everybody. And yeah, really think through the situation with ICE before you make stupid comments on my posts. Don't defend these people. I've been a little bit block happy recently, and I've cleaned up my friends list a lot in the past week, and I'm going to keep doing it.